a new bit of way to do some research. Of course, in NBA, there's a bunch of different ways to do research. There's a bunch of different numbers to find. Of course, we have all the free tools up on RotoCurve as well, like the consistency tool, the matchup detector, bargain values, games to target, and all sorts of information. But there are some things you can find elsewhere that will help you benefit from getting an edge in terms of research. And there's one site that I like to use called NBAWowy. It's similar to what you guys saw from Fangraphs when you heard me and Benny discuss during baseball season how to use different things on Fangraphs. So I'm going to delve right into how to use NBAWowy and how to make it an efficient way to help with your lineups for NBA daily fantasy sports. Now, you can just type in NBAWowy.com. This website was made by a programmer that used to play plays a lot of daily fantasy sports. And as you can see with those notifications popping up at the top, those are things that certain people have queried for that given day. And I want to talk about how to use this site. Now, what this is done for is finding on and off stats. And on and off stats in the NBA is huge because it can tell you usage rates, rebound rates, and all kinds of stuff. And as you guys all well know, finding minutes in NBA is huge. So when certain guys are out, when certain guys aren't playing, other guys step up, and that's how we find value. So in order to use NBAWowy, let's just go with the Atlanta Hawks who play tonight. If you select team and scroll down to the Hawks, it will give you select players on, select players off, and from a date. I'm going to use this season for this sample size. And for tonight's game, Kent Bazemore and Tiago Splitter were announced as out. So if you would click on it off, you would scroll down to Kent Bazemore, scroll down to Tiago Splitter, click on both. And what you can do here is hit submit. When you hit submit, you can see at the top it says starting. It'll run all kinds of different numbers, placing certain guys into certain positions. It runs through a whole bunch of data and analysis and brings you everything you need to see. So when you scroll down here for this season, this is what the Atlanta Hawks have. You can see shooting, team, opponent, fantasy, which is something to take a look at, saying that Al Horford has averaged over 1 DraftKings point per minute and 1 FanDuel point per minute. You can see free throws, release, distance, prior events, who handles the ball, rebounding percentages, certain defense, all the units players have used. So be sure to take in consideration this tool, especially when you're researching each day, when you want to find the guys that are out. Now, with Bazemore and Splitter out, if you go to the main shooting part of this tab, you can see that of the people who played the most minutes, Horford, Thabo, Sefolosha, Kyle Korver, Justin Holiday, and Millsap. You've heard us talk about usage rate. You can see what the formula is for usage rate here, and this gives you the fact that this is how often a guy would potentially take a shot based on the possessions he's on the court, stuff like that. So ideally, the higher usage rate, the better. And this is something that we're looking for a lot with NBAWowy. So if you sort by usage, you can see that Jeff Teague has the highest usage rates, followed by Dennis Schroeder, Shelvin Mack, and Paul Millsap. Now, what this can tell you is without Bazemore and without Splitter, Teague's taking the most shots, has the ball in his hands the most often, and theoretically, that would make him a better fantasy play. Now, another thing to look at here, if you go to rebounding, now Bazemore and Splitter aren't both huge rebounders because they don't play that many minutes. Splitter would be a better rebounder if he did play more minutes. But this shows you, if you were to use something else, it shows you the rebound percentages that certain guys have. Now, without Splitter and Bazemore on the floor, you can see that Thabo Sefolosha has a very high defensive rebound percentage, which is the percentage of total rebounds and defensive opportunities you see here. Total rebound rate, Walter Tavares, but that's very limited as he hasn't played many minutes, and total rebound percentages. So all these guys have had an increase in rebounds with the Hawks this season with Bazemore and Splitter out. And go back to shooting, you can see field goals attempted, the true shooting attempts, and there's some other advanced stats to take a look at as well. One thing that I definitely would recommend using is that fantasy tab. You can see DraftKings per minute rating, FanDuel per minute rating, and this tells you that certain guys do get better in certain situations. Now, using another example, it's something that we all have looked at before, and just for the sake of this video, I want to talk about how the Thunder react when Kevin Durant's not in the lineup. So if you go to Thunder for this season, if you go to Kevin Durant, once you hit submit, it'll run the numbers again for you. And this will show you all the same numbers that the Thunder have when Durant's not on the floor. usage rate. Westbrook's at an absurd 42% usage rate. If you look at all the lineups, the units is another way to look at it. It shows you all the starting lineups, or not all the starting lineups, all the late lineups and units that are on the floor for how many possessions and minutes based on when Kevin Durant would be off the floor. So it shows you that guys like Andre Roberson play a lot of minutes. Dion Waiters has played minutes at the 2, at the 3. Serge Ibaka's played a lot at the 4. And, of course, Russell Westbrook. Now, another way you can use this, of course, is if you go to ball handling. This will show you all the possessions that they had, all the plays that they've run, and their assist percentages and stuff like that. So when a guy like Kevin Durant is out, he's a guy that handles the ball a lot. So when he's out, guys that will handle the ball instead of him have their numbers go up, which, of course, Russell Westbrook here. This is an extreme case, but it is a good way to get the point across. You see his assist percentages is over 50%. You see his 2-point assist percentages, 3-point assist percentages. His turnover rate is rather high too, but this guy has the ball all the time. So this is a good way to look at it. So remember when you're using NBAWowy to use all of these different things, there's a lot of information here, but everything is explained when you highlight it. So you can use this to your advantage. Now, moving on to tonight's possible matchup, this is November 24th. I'm going to talk about how to use that Hawks thing to your advantage. Now, of course, with Kent Bazemore and Tiago Splitter out, I'm going to look at when the starters are on the floor. Starters are Horford, Jeff Teague, Kyle Korver, Paul Millsap, and with Bazemore out, Thabo Sefolosha may start, or Justin Holiday may start, but we're going to go with Thabo Sefolosha. So if you submit here, and this is with Bazemore out, but all these guys on the court, which is most likely to be the starting lineup, this will tell you who's taking the shots, who's doing the rebounding, stuff like that. So with this current starting lineup, they've only been played 14 minutes together, but in that, the usage rates are sorted by Korver being the highest, then Teague, then Millsap, then Sefolosha. And Horford has not played or has not shot the ball much with this lineup. So you can just use this along with the rest of the tools on this site to kind of take advantage of having an edge in terms of daily fantasy research. So be sure to add this to your repertoire for research tools and use this along with all the other free stuff, as you can see, as always, on RotoCurve.com. You go to DFS tools, to the matchup detector, consistency tool. You can find bargain values, the games to target, the odds, starting five, and depth charts, along with the scoring leaders. So there's a ton of stuff for you to take advantage. Use that along with NBAWowy, and you can make your NBA research a lot easier, a lot more fun, and a lot more informative. So I hope this helps, and if you have any questions, as always, be sure to ask us in the forums, or you can find me on Twitter as well at Josh Collacchi. So best of luck, everybody, and I hope this helps. Good luck in NBA DFS.